everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and welcome to our weekly show, Board Game Breakfast. We're so glad you're with us today. It's a show about board games and the people who play them. I'm hosting your show, Tom Vasel, but we have tons of fantastic contributors, and we'll get to those as we go throughout this show. Well, lots of stuff going on, mostly in people's houses all over the place, but games are still being announced. Game news is consistently coming out. Keep an eye on our channel. We'll probably be announcing a few things as this week and next week go on, but we'll just have to wait for those announcements. But keep an eye out because you will see some announcements being made on the Dice Tower channel over the next few weeks. But we got lots of stuff to talk about, so let's get going with stuff I found on the internet. Okay, today I want to talk about Watch It Played. So Rodney Smith made an announcement at the beginning of this week talking about some things he's doing on his channel. If you haven't seen Watch It Played, it's one of the best channels on the internet telling you how to play games. Rodney's been doing this almost as long as I am, has one of the biggest fan bases, and if you're watching this Board Game Breakfast, there's a pretty small chance that you don't know who he is. But if you don't, I certainly recommend checking out his channel. He announced a few new shows, and in particular bringing on Chaz Marler and Matthew Jude. Both Dice Tower alumni. Matthew Jude did Board Game Breakfast for a while, as did Chaz. In fact, I would argue, if I might do so unhumbly, that they got their start there. Chaz was on the Dice Tower for a while, is also working with Board Game Geek, and Matthew Jude has a fantastic podcast called This Game is Broken. And so these two voices moving on to Rodney's channel is cool. It's almost watching Watch It Play turn into its own little network of people together. Paula Deming will also be on the channel occasionally, and they mentioned other people will show up. And I like that idea. That's always been my idea to do things with the Dice Tower. I've always wanted to have a variety of voices. There's often a lot of yelling on the internet about, oh, it's just one person's opinion. You're right. When I do a review, it's just one guy's opinion. But the channel is not one person's opinion. The channel, we want to have as much variety on games. And yes, there's some games everyone likes, and there's some games everyone hates, but that's rare, and usually there's varying opinions, and so we want to give as many of those two as possible, which is why on our channel you'll often see reviews of the same game from different people to get that. That being said, Rodney's doesn't do reviews. He do Watch It Play. He'll also be talking about hot games and doing live stuff and a new news section. So all that stuff is interesting to me. It's certainly a channel that I like watching, and if you've never heard of it, this might be a good time to jump on board with viewing stuff there. So that's at Watch It Played, and that's what I found on the internet this week.
Hi Stella,
And Tarrant here.
we've got a game that we enjoy playing 2 versus 2 at the time with Martin Wallace actually at CamCon, Australian Convention in 2020. Ta-da!
Yeah.
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
Yay.
So it's a game by Tim Fowers, who did
Yep.
Burgle Brothers, and it's very much in the same thematic vein. So, and you can see the same sort of art style. So it's burglars, or in this case spies, attempting to infiltrate an area with...
Let's continue. I sabotage this video now. Keep going, please, sir.
Well, you could learn the rules.
Well, you can learn the rules. Okay, please continue.
They've been sabotaged.
Yes, continue, please.
It's a hidden movement game. 2 versus 2, you can't see each other's movement. One team is trying to essentially blast the other one with weapons, while the other is trying to disable the doomsday devices.
Yes, it's really quick. Well, once you get used to the game, it's really quick and fun, and it's a bit like Captain Sona. It reminds me a little bit of that.
It's got a little bit of that style, except yeah, it does, because you're competing on the same map. You're trying to find each other. There's a lot of rules because you're averse to each other, and it's all hidden movement, and and a lot of it is hidden action. Players do need to know the rules pretty well to play the game. It can make the first few plays tricky.
So hopefully you'll give it a go, and we are on Meeple University on YouTube and the Dice Tower for how to play and pocket playthrough videos. Until next time.
Hey everyone! Today on 2 Minute Mini we're turning the Hunting Deep one from Mansions of Madness from this into this in just 2 minutes. Hey everyone, Matt here from the Plastic Canvas and welcome to 2 Minute Mini. Today we are painting one of the Hunting Deep ones from Mansions of Madness. Now a little while back I painted one of these guys and I just painted it in a normal way, used my acrylics to base coat with and then highlighted and shaded in the normal sort of way. But then there was another one that it still needed to be painted that was sitting in my collection, and when I finally got to it, I wanted to do something a little bit more interesting than just painting it again in exactly the same way. So I decided to do a direct comparison between two different painting styles to see which one gave better results when considering the amount of time that went into it. And so what I tested with this guy was the effectiveness of using washes as a base coat. So what I did is I laid down a zenithal prime first and then mixed up a green and brown mixture for the skin and then used a purple wash for the carapace, the skull on the head. And because of the transparency of the washes, it allowed the different tones of the prime to come through. So it was brighter where it went over white and darker when it went over black. So I got to completely miss the highlighting and shading step. And whereas with the first one that I did, because I used acrylics, which covers up the prime, I needed to go through and through layering build up all of those different tones, and I think this was actually a much more effective way of painting. I really like the way that this ended up looking, especially considering the shorter amount of time that it took to paint. So if you'd like to see this full video, head over to my channel, The Plastic Canvas, and I hope you enjoy your breakfast.
All right, well, this is not a board game, but it's also very board game adjacent. But I just want to talk about these. These are the iron clays here. Now, I got these because I knew I would like them, and I got them for the Dice Tower Library. So this one comes with 200, and then down here it comes with 400. So that's 600 total. Normally, I would not get this on a personal level. I would just get one of the 200 sets because I would use it for all my games. But I got them for the Dice Tower Library. So what are these, actually? So these here, and by the way, these are from Roxley, who makes fantastically, games with some of the best components ever. Well, I see that these ribbons were not put back underneath them like they were supposed to, but you see there's a ribbon that comes out. And then there's a plastic tray. Now, I'm going to tell you this. The plastic tray is easily my least favorite thing about these. It's very sturdy and holds the chips in well, but it just feels like it could easily be broken. And I don't know, I don't know what the solution is, but the chips themselves here, so you can see that they're kind of indented in the middle, and it gives them this really cool feel where you can pick them up, and not only are they heavily weighted, these whole boxes are pretty heavily weighted, but this, I don't know, there's just a tangible feel to it. You know these aren't poker chips, and so we have denominations of 1, we got 5s, we have 20s, we have 50s, and we have 500s. Now, the 50 to 500 thing is a little off, I think, because, it requires 10 of them to get to 500. But there are 100 chips, and I got some in this bucket here. So I would use those. So here's some more 1s, some more 5s. Then we got 10s now as a new chip, and more 20s, and then 100s. So I like that. That's a good mix, I think. 20s are a chip that you use a lot, and of course if you have big games with huge amounts of money, you could always say this is 10,000, 20,000. Obviously a lot of people are going to use these for train games, but in any game with money I would much prefer to use these. So you see that's that box. This box here is pretty much the same thing except there's 2 sets of them. So 1 set, 2 set, and maybe 2 sets like this big box here would be what you would want to get, and this is a nice case here to hold everything. But I think 1 set would satisfy most games. It depends, on how many chips, but 200 chips is a lot. So these are the highest quality, and I like them a lot. Like I said, the only thing I don't like is this lid, but I can't think of a better solution, so what do I know? That's the Iron Clay chips from Roxley Games.
Hi everybody, I'm Starla.
I'm Mick.
And we are Our Family Plays Games. And today we're going to show you another one of our favorite family games, Survive, Escape from Atlantis.
Now, this game is pretty treacherous, where you're trying to get your meeples that have numbers on them, trying to get them to the island for safety. Now, the island is disappearing and is breaking apart, and under these give you special powers and also bring up some evil things to take out your little people. Sea monsters, sharks, and whales. So it's a pretty mean game, but fun.
We love to play it. If you have teenagers or kids at home, it's a perfect game for them. Our son loves to make sure you get eaten by sharks by kicking you off a piece and putting you in the water. But it's something you're going to enjoy. We laugh till we cry sometimes when we play this game.
Now, there's one more variation to this game, or I guess another version, and that's Survive Space Attack. It's a little different in the rules, but it's almost all the same.
But not as fun as this one. We played
this
that one.
This is pretty fun.
I actually love this one so much more, so this is the one.
Now, there's also one other thing. It's from 2 to 4 players, but if you get one of the expansions, it goes to 5 or 6, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so if you don't have Survive, get it. So that's all we have for now.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Well, today we're going to be talking about Bora Bora. This is kind of a dice placement game by Stefan Feld. It takes place in the South Pacific Islands. There's not a lot of actions you get in this game, so it's really tense.
Yeah, speaking of not getting a lot of action, sometimes when you live in a climate like ours and all of it does is rain and storm, you don't get a lot of chances to go outside. So when it stops raining, I push my whole family outside. We get really muddy, and then we have to come back inside. But you just gotta, or at least we feel like we need to optimize the outdoor time that we can, even when it's storming like it is.
All right, so in Bora Bora, like I said, you only get a few actions to work with. You can get more by recruiting these men and women tiles to help you out, but it's really heavy, and I love that about this game.
Yeah, this game is really fun to play. It's kind of probably at the higher end of what I can handle and still play strategically. That's just how I work. I could probably play heavier games, but I just want to be in contention for winning. But I still really liked it, even though it was at my end of that. It was still really fun. There was a lot of good choices to be made. I liked how I had to pay attention to what I was doing and what everybody else was doing. I was definitely going to lose over and over and over again. It was a lot of fun.
All right, yeah, and similar to heavier games like this, it does really favor the experienced. So if you're teaching someone new, give them a lot of extra teaching and a lot of extra graces, because chances are you're gonna beat him.
Well, if you want to hear our full thoughts on Bora Bora, go ahead and find us on YouTube under Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Well, everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast. Bye, guys.
Everybody.
What's up, everyone? My name is Melissa McCack, and this is Smashin' Buttons and Slammin' Cards. This is a segment where I talk about a video game I love and I connect it to a board game I love. And this week, I want to talk about RuneScape. This video game was suggested to me by a viewer who is saying they would like to know what board game I would compare this to, as their son plays RuneScape a lot, and they've been trying to play board games together. So this one's for you. RuneScape I haven't played since I was, I guess, in middle school when it first came out, and I guess now it's being called old school RuneScape from what I found out. And this was probably my introduction to MMORPGs. I don't think I ever played an MMO before this. But anyway, so from what I remember, you're going around collecting resources and things, leveling up your character, getting better gear. You could join clans and guilds and specialize in certain things. I would like to connect that to Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea. So Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea is a 4X style fantasy game. RuneScape also takes place in a fantasy world from what I remember. And for Heroes, you can you choose one of the races that come in the box, and you specialize in certain things depending on your race, and you can recruit certain people. And the recruitment is sort of what reminded me of clans from RuneScape, where you could recruit different people into your clan, and then you could all specialize in certain things, just like in Heroes of Land, Air, and Sea, where you're recruiting certain people based on your race in order to progress your specialties pretty much throughout the game. And it has an exploration feature to it, which is really, really cool, just like RuneScape and a lot of MMOs where it has that exploratory feel. Anyway, that's it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like, you can check out mine and my brother's channel called Room 51. We're still in the middle of our top 51 games of all time if you want to go ahead and check that out. Anyway, I'll catch you next time.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be doing more marathons anytime soon, but maybe I'll be playing some more live games as time goes by. So keep an eye out for that sort of thing. This week, I'm going to be reviewing Zen Garden, Metro X, which I did play on my live marathon last week, Bananagram's Parties, and the big review of the week will come at the very end, or at the beginning of next week, Sunday anyway, Monumental and the expansion for Monumental. So looking forward to talking about those. More top 10s will be coming out this week, including a top 10 with a special guest who I have not 100% confirmed yet. So once we do, that will be on the internet and you will see. But I'm pretty excited about that. So we're going to continue doing this stuff. We're also going to continue doing live stuff on our channel. We got crowd surfing coming out on Wednesday. We do a live version of this show, Board Game Breakfast, every week. And then, of course, the Dice Tower podcast. Manny and Suzanne's podcast goes up tomorrow. So listen to that on the Dice Tower. And many, many, many other fantastic podcasts are up, and so you can go check all those podcasts out at dicetowernetwork.com.
Hey everybody, it's Christina from Girls Game Shelf. I just want to talk to you about one game today. I want to talk about the Color Monster, which I first heard about here on Board Game Breakfast from Dan and Cora way back in the day. I love this game. It's very special to me and my family. And I think that if you are a parent or have kids that you play games with or a teacher, that you should really check this one out. It's great for kids because the piece is so tactile and satisfying to hold. This is the Color Monster himself. And the story goes that he has his feelings all jumbled up and you are going to help him figure out his feelings by sharing your own. So aside from the tactileness of it, it also teaches empathy and gets kids to talk about how they're feeling, which sometimes is not easy. The artwork is really just whimsical and lovely. My kids love it. They're always pointing to the board and they really like it. And even the little apothecary jars are great. See, in order to help the Color Monster, you share how you're feeling, and then you can take a token off the board and then put it in these apothecary jars. And if you match up the color correctly, then you have helped the monster with that feeling. So the thing that has been really cool about this game for me, that the developer shared with me, is that you can theme this game based on what's going on in the kid's life. And I've used this game personally so many times for my kids, like, let's play the Color Monster about your first day of school. Let's play it about, the move and what it's like to be in our new house. Let's play it about quarantine and not going back to school. And just without fail, this game has helped me to know more about my kids and what they're going through. And I think it's helped them with themselves too, because the emotion isn't just like what you're immediately feeling. It's like, okay, well, what makes us happy about this? What makes us sad about it? You have to consider it from all these different areas. And maybe some of us adults should play it too. So yeah, that's it. It's the Color Monster. It's precious to me. And I urge you to give it a chance. Or if you don't want to, then spread the word, because it can help a lot of people. Okay. You guys stay safe out there. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Hi everybody, welcome to Perfect Pairings. I'm Lexi from All Aboard Gamer. Today we're going to make pork chops with onions, sweet potatoes, and apples. It's a perfect pairing, so let's get to it. First we're going to chop up 1 sweet potato. Now we're going to chop up 2 onions. Now we're going to chop up 2 apples. Alright, so we chopped up all of our ingredients and now we're going to put it into our pan. We're going to bake this covered at 375 for about an hour. And we think it pairs well with My Little Scythe.
Oh boy, so once again, I am stuffed. Thank you so much. It was very, very good.
You're welcome.
And when we were thinking of the game, which you already know is My Little Scythe, I was wondering, we don't have to pair the meal exactly to the game, but in this case, it was pretty thematic. There were apples in the meal. There are apples in this game. There are gems in this game. Let me stretch and say pearl onions.
Sure.
Even though you used regular onions.
I did.
I thought of that. And also, the Kingdom of Boarland. These are wild boars. I think that's sort of close to pork.
Yeah,
if that
absolutely.
Would, right? So if you wanted to see a longer version of this particular segment of Perfect Pairings, you got to head on over to our channel, All Aboard Gamer, and just click, like, subscribe, comment, visit, view. We'd love to have you and get to know you. So thanks for watching, and thanks for coming. All aboard.
So I did a solo marathon this past week, which I sat and played games, for the most part solo. There was a few where I played against the audience or played with the audience. But when playing through solo games, I'm not what we would call a solo gamer, although I played quite a few of them at this point in time, and I played some of the most well-known named ones this past Monday because I figured I should knock those out of the way. And it seems to me that there are two main types of solo games. One of those is where you play against another player, and the other is where you play against the game itself, like trying to just win or lose, like cooperative games, or maybe even just get a score and then compare your score to other scores, which is kind of those are a little bit different, but I put them in the same category. I want to talk about the first category, though, and that's playing against a basically made-up player, whether it's called Automata, an AI player, or a dummy player, which it's been called before, often in multiplayer games. Many multiplayer games have a dummy player if you play with only two players. And I have spoken out in the past, I really dislike the idea of the dummy player. I was first introduced to it when I played Abridged, which was a lighter version of the card game Bridge from Out of the Box Publishing, and wow, did I hate it. I hated the idea of just some dummy, for lack of better words, coming in and playing cards because it felt random. And so now I'm playing against computers, and I've done this before. I played Race for the Galaxy. This week I played against Wingspan. And I get why people want to do these. And I want to be clear, I'm definitely not knocking the people who design these, because it's far above what I could understand or do, is to design something that sort of acts like a human player. And many times, like when you play against these online, whether you play the Ticket to Ride and how those robots work in there, and sometimes you can pick maybe this one's going to play more aggressively or this. At the end of the day, I can never shake off the fact that I'm playing against someone who's programmed to do stuff. And sometimes they will do stuff randomly. Now, one of the little things I like to do is, if possible in a game, there's not negotiation in every game, but if you can kind of persuade someone maybe to do something, even if it's a positive thing, like, look, I know you want to build there, but that's where I was going to build. Why don't you build over here? And if you do so, I won't do this. And that's a little bit of negotiation. Negotiation is impossible to have with a dummy computer automata player. It just is. And they can play both predictably and unpredictably, if that makes sense. Predictably because they're moving like a robot. They're going to follow a script. And because of that, if you get good at the game, you can beat them. That's how we beat every arcade game that came out in the 80s and 90s, was figuring out what the pattern of the enemy was going to be. The enemy wasn't really thinking, and I wasn't like, ooh, that was super clever. No, they just followed patterns, and that's how these work too. But at the same time, they can be unpredictable, especially when you're first playing them, because you don't really know what they're going to do, and sometimes they'll do something that, yes, will help increase their score that you can compare to at the end of the game, but doesn't make sense and might not happen in the actual game itself. Now, why do I say all this? I definitely don't say it because I think these things are bad. In fact, they prove them to be extremely popular. Wingspan just won for the Best Solo Game on Board Game Geek Awards, and it's in a nomination for Best Solo Game on the Dice Tower Awards themselves. But be that as it may, as a personal preference, I think I prefer the go up against the game or go to score points. And I like obstacles being thrown my way. That's not a problem, and you deal with those obstacles. I just can't shake the feeling that I'm playing an unthinking, uncaring person. Now, the good news, I can rage against that person and spew vitriol at them and not care because I'm not hurting anyone's feelings, unless the designer takes it personally, which I don't think they would, right? So there's the benefit of that. But for me, I kind of lean towards the other way. Which way do you lean with solo games? Would you rather have an automated opponent to play against, which I know a lot of people do, or would you rather play against the game itself, accomplish a goal before the island sinks, or just see how good of a score you can get? Let me know in the comments. But that's what I think today.
Hello, and welcome back to Retro Board Game Corner. Here I have Vegas, published in 1973 by Milton Bradley. This is a 2 or more player card game in which you're trying to win the most amount of chips by spelling out Vegas. Let me set this up and show you how it works. This is what the game would look like set up. Now, to begin the game, the chips will not be here. This is just to hold the chips. You will distribute the chips out evenly to all the players. The red ones are worth 1, the yellow ones are worth 5, and you can make change at any time. To begin the game, every player will put 1 point worth of chips in each of the 8 containers. The dealer for the round of the game will give everybody 3 cards. Then play can begin. On every turn, a player is going to go ahead and spin the spinner. Now, that is the key letter that all the players have to play. Now, if you do not have that card in your hand, you'll have to go ahead and discard a card and then pay a penalty. On a V, G, or S, you'll pay the penalty to those containers. On an E or an A, the penalty will come here to the pot. Now, if you're able to go ahead and play that card, you can. After everybody has either played the card or paid the penalty, then the dealer will give everybody else another card, so they'll always have 3 cards in their hand, and then it's the next player's turn to get a new key letter, and then play will continue. There are also cards in the deck that are zap cards. Now, you can play a zap card to go ahead and eliminate any other player's card that's in front of them. When you play a V, G, or S, you will take the corresponding chips. Now, at any time when your cards are face up, when they value 7, 5, 11, or 13, then you will go ahead and take those chips. Now, the end of the turn is over when one player has spelled Vegas. Now, when that happens, you will go ahead and value up all the cards along with everybody else, and whoever didn't spell Vegas has to pay the winner of that turn the difference of the values of the card. Now, to start a new round, everybody again will pay 1 coin to each of the 8 containers, and then there will be a new dealer. The game will be completely over once everybody has had a chance to be the dealer 1 time. Tabulate how many chips everybody has. Highest chip total wins the game. I'm continuing to show my abstracts from my collection. Now, most people that know me know that this is not the type of game that I gravitate towards. But you have to admit that the abstracts from the past all had a unique mechanic to them. This game is no different. Well, that's all the time I have for now. If you have a comment below, or you could tweet at me at RetroBoardGamer. And as always, may your rolls be high.
Hi guys, and welcome to yet another call video. I am your host, Randy.
And I'm Ellen. I don't know what the heck I'm doing.
First one up is Machikoro,
Bright Lights, Big City. We haven't done that in a while. I'm sorry.
This was a Target exclusive, which I don't think it is anymore. I think that got lifted pretty quickly. But anyway, this is probably the best version of Machikoro, straight up. Although the original with the expansion might tip it over. I haven't played that, but from my understanding, this is the better one.
We are going to be getting rid of this one because Space Base has really taken its place. Space Base has taken its place. I feel like I'm rapping.
They're both very similar in mechanics-wise. You know, you're rolling a set of dice, and you get to activate cards either on your turn or somebody else's turn, depending on what they are. I don't know, would you like better about Space Base?
Less luck, I felt like.
Yeah, I think there's probably a little bit less luck in Space Base, sure.
I like having a little bit more control. I don't mind a little luck.
I just like how the cards come out and the board is set up in general better.
Yeah, I like how money works too in Space Base. It's just cool.
Cash and Guns. This is a party game of shooting people for money. But don't worry. It is done in a very cartoonish way. And I know this isn't going to be everybody's cup of tea.
Very innocent murder.
It is. And so what's neat about it is you point at guns at somebody, and then you either have a click or a bang card. And then if that person that you're pointing at stays in the round, and you have a bang card, they get shot and they're out. But if they have a click card and you decide to stay up against them, you stay in, right? So, and whoever's left after that madness gets to split the loot in front of them. And whoever has the most money at the end of the game wins. It's just a really easy
It's a great party game. My brother-in-law, who is not really a gamer, absolutely loves this, and it's gone over so well at any party that we've brought it to.
Yep.
Did we say if we're keeping it or not?
I guess we're just that kind of people. We're keeping it.
We're keeping it. Next is Alien Artifacts.
Yes.
This is the most, for what it is, it's so text-heavy that I found that kind of exhausting, and I didn't quite enjoy it.
I don't know.
There's
something I can't really pinpoint it, but I mean, first of all, we're not keeping it.
No, we're not.
But it was a good game, I think. But it just every time I played it, I didn't feel like fulfilled. I guess
What's the
I just felt like I'd rather play
even?
something else.
I don't even remember.
Well, it's just like a card placement. You do some resources, and then you can it's like a 4X game, but it kind of feels like a 4X game. But I don't know. I mean, honestly, it just
feels like
it just kind of
X game.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't succeed in what it was trying to do for us. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you on the next one.
All right, well, that's it for another Board Game Breakfast. We got more stuff coming up today. So keep an eye out for the videos coming out today. And, of course, every night at 9 o'clock, we do a daily chat with someone. I'm actually on tonight with Elizabeth Hargrave. We've been talking about Wingspan a bit, so I'm sure that will be a fun one. So join us every night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we take a break from all the stuff that's going on in the world and just have a good time, where we talk one with another. Join us. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast on the Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.